What up, everybody? BMF Season 4, Episode 2. The talk around Detroit is rumors about what happened to Lamar Silas, whether he's dead or alive, with a lot of people believing that Lamar's dead, and speculation about who shot him. Nicole said something to Breeze about Lamar being in hell, indicating she thinks he's dead, and Breeze asked Nicole if she thinks her brothers had anything to do with it. And even Terry thinks Lamar's dead because he asked B. Mickey if that's why he smoked Lamar. But they should know better after Lamar survived getting shot by Meech in Season 1 that he doesn't die easy, and especially if there hasn't been a body found or a funeral. And because of what happened, Terry had Hoop tracking B. Mickey, keeping an eye on him to make sure that he wasn't working with the cops. B. Mickey's now working at the GM power plant, the same plant that Charles worked out for all those years. And his baby mama Aisha's putting pressure on him about their daughter's sickness and the surgery she needs, saying that she doesn't know how much longer they can wait. So B. Mickey went to Lucille's church and after service asked her if the church could pay for his daughter's surgery. And Lucille said she would ask the board, pretty much saying no. During this conversation, Charles found out that B. Mickey worked at the plant and B. Mickey was complaining about not getting enough shifts. And Charles let him know that's why he had to work 3 jobs for most of his life. And we know that Charles couldn't even afford to pay all his bills. So there's no way, even if B. Mickey worked around the clock at the plant, that he could afford to pay for his daughter's surgery himself. Sterling Black told T that he needs to stay focused on business, when Terry let Sterling know that he is focused on business and that he's making a move to South Carolina with the plan BMF has to move a half a ton in each city. So in this episode, we got our introduction to Marquisha's connection in South Carolina named Isaac Roberts, and he owns a trunking company that he moves his product around through and says he keeps the canines off their scent by using cow manure. Isaac Roberts' clientele is the wealthy elite who love nose candy. He's been getting his product off the ports, but the Coast Guard keeps bringing the heat. So that's something to keep in mind if Isaac Roberts could potentially be working with the feds after getting busted by the Coast Guard. Terry's gonna start Isaac Roberts out with 50 keys, and Marquisha will be running the point moving forward. Back in Atlanta, the Techwood projects will be getting torn down soon because of the Olympics, but the people must be relocated first, so Meech will eventually need to find a new trap spot in Atlanta. Duffy let Meech know that while he was in Mexico, they continue to get their normal shipments from Loco, and we found out that Duffy's father is in prison and in bad health. Bryant was at the Techwood projects, dropping off Lil Mill's father after an AA meeting. And when he saw a crew of guys there, he was trying to do undercover work. When he asked them for a lighter, the Red Dogs showed up. And when Bryant tried to get to his car, they beat him down. The Red Dogs took Bryant into custody when they found out he was a cop. Bryant has now transferred to the Atlanta PD. And I guess he's doing some kind of undercover work because he told the Red Dogs that he let them beat him down because he didn't want to blow his cover. When Bryant left, Officer Hardy from the Red Dogs said that they got to watch him because they know Bryant snitched on his department and exposed police corruption in Detroit. So we already know that the Red Dogs don't do things by the book, but are they also dirty? Possibly they take some of the drugs and money from the Caesars for themselves. Either that or they're trying to make sure if Bryant makes some kind of major bust that he doesn't get all the credit for himself, that they get some credit also. Then later on, Officer Hardy showed up at Bryant's hotel room, and the first thing he looked at was Bryant's crime board. The crime board has postings about the Jack the Rapper event, the Techwood shootout. It also has information on Sterling Black, Hoop, and B. Mickey, as well as the final note he received from his son Kevin. At this point, Hardy asked Bryant to join forces with the Red Dogs. Nicole hooked up with Breeze for the first time this episode, the day before he left for Clark, but ended up getting arrested after because the car Meech gave her for a graduation gift ended up being stolen. But this ended up being only one of several cars that Meech bought through Duffy from this particular car broker that they were using to move weight from state to state. The name of the car dealership is called Apex 5 Auto Haven. So Meech and Duffy had to pay a visit to the car dealership to find out what was going on with the cars because they thought they were all clean. But the cop who arrested Nicole, Officer Waters, was Detective Timmons' partner, and he called Bryant in Atlanta to tell him about the whole situation. By the way, Officer Timmons was the cop who was in the first 3 seasons known as GQ. So while Meech and Duffy are talking to the lady from the car dealership, Meech sees Bryant walking up and was completely shocked to see Bryant in Atlanta. But Meech and Duffy got out the car dealership through a back door without Bryant seeing them. So that gives them the upper hand and they can stay one step ahead of Bryant at least until he figures out that they know he's in Atlanta. Meech said that he's going to do surveillance on Bryant just like Bryant used to do surveillance on him. So Bryant and his new team, the Red Dogs, went to the airport for what they thought was Meech's shipment, only to find nothing. And the Red Dog task force is so aggressive, when the Colombian went for his phone, they shot him. But Officer Kane got shot in the process. But that had to have been by one of his own men because the Colombians weren't armed. When they were doing surveillance on Bryant and saw them raid the empty plane, Duffy asked Meech where the real shipment went to, and it didn't show him answer. But at the end of the episode, we find out that Meech had the shipment sent to St. Louis, and Jay Pusher was talking to another guy asking him if they were doing all the work, then why do they need Meech? Basically saying Meech was just the middleman, and they were doing all the real work. So Jay Pusher's plotting against Meech behind the scenes, not to mention in the car when Meech was considering shutting everything down because of Bryant and the car situation. Duffy said that Jay Pusher has already threatened to wet them all up before over not getting his product on time. But Meech is underestimating Jay Pusher, saying that he's all talk. And the episode concluded with OG Meech, the narrator, saying there's some doors that are best left closed. This was likely talking about getting Jay Pusher that involved, as well as the fact that the end of the episode concluded with Meech taking a Blue Dolphin ecstasy pill. That might also be one of the doors Meech says he should have left closed. Both Jay Pusher and the ecstasy likely could cause problems for Meech moving forward. But in regards to the ecstasy, I do wonder if Meech is going to try to get involved in the distribution of that as well. When Nicole was in police custody, she told Detective Waters that she got the car from her brother, Michael Smith. So later Meech called and had to ask Nikki what name she gave the cops. And she told him, so that'll likely be the name that they give the car dealership when Bryant comes back with the warrant. But when Nikki got off the phone with Meech, she told him, "F you," because she'll most likely lose her scholarship because of this situation. Like Lucille told Meech, he might have ruined his sister's future. But since Meech and Terry were willing to pay for Denise's son's education, Meech should definitely pay for his sister's, especially since Meech is the one that cost her scholarship. Charles got a phone call this episode with the bad news, letting him know that the tour with the Campbell brothers, who he was supposed to be going on, was canceled. Charles was dependent on that tour for money, and Lucille overheard the conversation and immediately started pressuring Charles about money when he got off the phone. Charles told Lucille that she has a job now and that she should take up an offering. But this whole situation now has Charles forced to go back to work at the GM plant. So now him and B. Mickey are going to be co-workers. While B. Mickey was walking into the GM plant when Hoop was supposed to be tracking him, he noticed Hoop before Hoop noticed him because Hoop was asleep, and they had a little back and forth with B. Mickey calling Hoop a sorry number 2 because he was sleeping on the job. Keep it in mind, this is an awkward situation because B. Mickey used to be the boss of Hoop and all the other soldiers that work under Meech and Terry back when they were the 50 Boys. But during this conversation, B. Mickey mentioned to Hoop that his daughter was sick, and Hoop reported that back to Terry. This led to T meeting up with B. Mickey at the end of the episode, with B. Mickey letting T know that he wants back in and that he wants to earn, and it was all about his daughter. But Terry let B. Mickey know that he wasn't part of that family anymore. And when Terry said that, you can see the pain on B. Mickey's face. Terry tried to just give B. Mickey the money to pay for his daughter's surgery, but B. Mickey wouldn't accept it, saying that he wanted to earn it. So Terry just got up and walked off. I feel like B. Mickey should have just took the money for his daughter, but we'll see if Terry plans on letting B. Mickey earn the money and what he needs him to do. In this episode, we got our first look at Purdy, Meech and Terry's first artist that they'll have for their first record label. She's an R&B artist, and her song was playing at the club. Purdy has a producer named Trill, who's cheap, and he controls everything she does, and will likely be a problem for Meech moving forward. Keep in mind, Tupac warned Meech that there was beef in the rap game, just like the streets. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.